What's up, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB Recap, and today's recap is a fun one because Juan Soto, he is playing like he wants Shohei money. What's the ceiling for this guy's contract? We had some drama in the Padres and the Dodgers game. Jurickson Profar, he was jawing at Will Smith, and then Will Smith called Jurickson Profar irrelevant. A Rangers player is now on the IL after punching a wall and breaking his own hand, and Pete Alonso, he stays hitting home runs, and remember, every single homer that he hits is $1,000 to animal shelters, so he's helping out his own cause. Before we start the highlights, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your support. We are closing in on 500,000 subscribers. My friends and I have been having a ton of fun on Underdog Fantasy. Golf is going on right now, UFC, baseball, obviously, so just a reminder, when you download Underdog Fantasy, use code Fuzzy and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. So now that we have these sponsors out the way, let's talk about the games from yesterday. Brian Hayes, he was taking on the Phillies. He was able to get that just past the diving Johan Rojas. If he can't catch that, no one can, because he can cover some ground. And yeah, no one can catch that one either. Skinny Schwarber, he can still hit baseballs very, very far. The game's tied at 1 when Nick Castellanos, he turned on a cutter. And Trey, he's going to use that elite speed to score. The Phillies are back up. But O'Neal Cruz, he pulled a Schwarber. So Schwarber tied on a home run. Same for O'Neal Cruz. They both have 3 on the season now. We head to the bottom of the 7th, runner at 3rd for Alec Bohm. So what's going to happen? Exactly that. Alec Bohm is an actual auto hit cheat code with runners in scoring position. So it's 3-3, and they actually walked Alec Bohm in the 9th to get to Nick Castellanos. Probably smart, but a bold move. Let's see if it pays off. And it does. Castellanos, he raises his season batting average to 182 and his OPS plus to 25. So he for sure needed that. We have a Yankees and Guardians doubleheader coming up, and fair warning, this first game was brutal to watch for both fan bases, by the way. It felt like every single rally was stomped on by a double play. The Yankees, they go up 1 on a double play. At least they got to run. Now we have some controversy because Judge, he skied a fly ball in the 3rd, and because it was so windy, Juan Soto thought it might drop, but Freeman, he does in fact catch it, and he chucked it back to first, but Naylor kind of forgot where his feet were. It looked like he was trying to stretch from the bag. Soto kind of pushed him just a tiny bit, and then Naylor, he fell over, but while he was falling, he tagged first base for the double play. I guess it wasn't obstruction because they said that Naylor was in the act of fielding, but he was only in the act of fielding because he forgot where he was. Anyway, Clark Schmidt, he looked as nasty as ever. This guy has a crazy sinker and curveball mix. He racked up 7 strikeouts, no runs allowed through 5. The Yankees only had 1 run through 5. When Oswaldo, he tripled their run total on 1 swing. Oswaldo has 3 home runs and 11 RBIs on the season. Such a sick start for him. Cleveland had the bases loaded, and there was another double play. Oh, Glaber threw it into the dugout. Cleveland was gifted 2 free runs instead of an inning double play. New York, they then got some huge help in the 9th on a terrible, terrible call to the former Yankee Estevan Florial. Holmes, he got Rocchio to seal his 6th save of the year. 6 saves is a lot. Again, that wasn't a super fun game to watch, but luckily there was a second game, and one fan base was going to have a ton of fun. Tristan McKenzie's arm fell off, so obviously it wasn't going to be Cleveland. And then Cleveland's infield just completely unplugged their brains. They didn't tag second base. They couldn't make the throw to first base. Everyone's safe. Rizzo says, "Thanks, guys. I appreciate it." There's an RBI single. McKenzie, he then walked in Giancarlo Stanton, so it's 2-0. And to Tristan's credit, he only allowed 2 runs, despite the fact that he walked 3. But the walk started again in the 4th. Anthony Volpe, he was able to get his hands on an inside fastball, only 90 miles an hour for an RBI single. Tristan threw another BP fastball, this time right down Broadway to Juan Soto. This is why people are throwing 95 plus, because when you're throwing 90, it's probably going to get crushed. Juan Soto now has 3 home runs and 15 RBIs. Oswaldo Cabrera, he ripped an RBI single, and then Austin Wells, his sac fly pushed it to 8 runs. All of the runs for Cody Petit, and he was just like Clark Schmidt. He made light work of the Guardians lineup. He struck out a few over 6. He only allowed 1 run over 6 really efficient frames, and he had 0 walks compared to Tristan McKenzie's 6 walks. Josh Naylor belted his 4th home run. He's now hitting .341. That was a nice little parting gift from the Yankees, but they sweep the doubleheader. They're now 12 and 13. So while we're at it, let's get the other doubleheader out the way. Joe Ryan was nasty, so that 2-run home run is pretty impressive. Kerry Carpenter, he has legit power, so Ryan, he's not too upset. Here comes the Minnesota Twins. Austin Martin, he's finally on the board with his first RBI of his young career. Carlos Santana, he was able to beat out a double play, so now it's 2-2. Like I said in the intro, Joe Ryan, he was nasty. He punched out a career-high 11 hitters. He's realizing that his fastball is good enough. He can use that more often to induce strikeouts. Detroit's rookie Colt Keith, he did ruin the fun a little bit with that go-ahead RBI single, so no W for Joe Ryan, but at least Ryan Jeffers came up huge. His solo home run in the 8th, 8th ties it, and then his RBI single in the 11th put the Twins back up. Colt Keith, he delivered in the clutch again. His RBI single ties it. We have to go to 12 innings. Austin Martin, he had a bases of a walk that puts the Twins up by 1, and there's no way Ryan Jeffers has another clutch AB in his back pocket, right? Oh no! Zach McKinstry, he was just moved to third base, and if you've ever played baseball, you know the ball will find you the second you're at a new position. The Tigers, they decided to basically rub it in McKinstry's face. They sent him out to pitch. They just gave up. Matt Wallner, he hit one over the wall. His 3-run home run turned this into a blowout. Game 2 was a little bit more normal as Byron Buxton lifted a sac fly for the game's first run. But just like in Game 1, Detroit, they kept on answering, but I promise this one's not going to go 12 innings. Wenzel Perez, he dolphin dived for his first big league hit. He's smiling ear to ear. Good for him. Those dives at first are always scary because it reminds me of Josh Hamilton shattering his thumb at first. Javier Baez pulled a Buxton to hit a sac fly to Buxton, so we're tied at 1. No, we aren't, because Edward Julian has some of the best pop I've ever seen going the other way for a guy who's not 6'3". Like, it's not easy to go that far as a lefty in Detroit. Willie Castro, the MLB The Show 24 legend, he then belted one in the absence of Carlos Correa. That pushed it to a 4-1 lead. And look at Simeon Woods Richardson, say that 5 times in a row fast. He was cruising through 6. He had 5 strikeouts, only 2 base hits allowed. He flashed all the talent that we expected him to show off in Toronto before he got traded with Austin Martin for Jose Barrios back in 2021. Cole Sands picked up a 7-out save, so that means that Simeon, he's going to get his first big league dub. The Twins sweep the doubleheader, and Detroit, they started off like 7-0. Now they're 8-6. Let's get the last AL Central team out the way because I don't think the White Sox played yesterday. Kansas City was still out in New York taking on the Mets. Nelson Velasquez, he kickstarted the game with an RBI single, and then the Mets, they started teeing off. They actually went up 3-1 at one point. The Mets then got themselves in a heap of trouble. Shamanaya, he walked in a run, so the bases are loaded. Salvador Perez up, and you just can't get this guy out right now. Salvi, he collects 2 more RBIs as he shoots the third base shortstop gap. RBIs 13 and 14 on the year. Pete Alonso, he's on a power surge. He's up to 5, so that's $5,000 to animal shelters. It's a 4-4 ball game, not so fast as Kansas City. They were helped out by Starling Marte just dropping a ball. So Bobby, he's going to get all the way to third base. So Nick Lofton, when he drops that in, that's an RBI single. And then Brandon Nimmo gave Salvi an early Christmas gift. That ball deflected off his glove and then hit the railing. So that means it's a home run, and that's home run number 250 in Salvi's career. The Royals kept the pressure on. It's now 9-4 with Renfroe at the dish. He doubles to get it to double digits. The Royals, they're cool though. They wanted to help Pete's cause. They're already up 900, so that solo home run, what's it going to cause? $6,000 to animal shelters. He's now tied for the MLB lead with 6. Oh, Starling Marte also got one, but Kansas City, they put a bow on it. Lindor, he rolled over. Ball game. The Royals are now very impressive, 10-5. The Dodgers are also in the 10-win club, but before we show that game, we have another team that put up a fat 11 spot. Ryan Pepio, he's trying to repeat his last start where he struck out like 12. Conforto, he wasn't interested in being a part of that. He belts an RBI double, and Tyro Estrada, he didn't want to get struck out either. He ripped a no-doubter. Randy didn't even move. Lamont Wade Jr., that's a 2-run home run. He's now hitting 368 on the season. The Giants kept it moving. Mike Wazowski, that's the first time I've made that joke this year. Cut me some slack. Mike Yastrzemski and Patrick Bailey, they both tagged the Rays for some RBIs. Yaz on a single, Bailey on a ground rule double, so it's 7-1 Giants. Jorge Soler, good lord, that's a long home run, his 3rd of the year. And Tyro, he did it again. He now has 3 on the year as well. Logan Webb, he was dominant on the bump. He went 7 very strong frames with a few strikeouts. He's trying to secure his first Cy Young after finishing 2nd last year. Matt Chapman was then served up a meatball courtesy of catcher Ben Rortvedt, and then Rortvedt struck out to end the game. It was a blowout. San Francisco wins huge, so let's see who takes this next one between some other NL West teams, the Padres and the Dodgers. There was a long rain delay, which nearly never happens in LA, but the game eventually started. Knuckleballer Matt Waldron, he was out there frying. He tossed 3 shutouts, so I was terrified he was going to get a Tops Now card or something, but he got in some trouble in the 4th as James Outman got on and then stole second base. Lux walked, and Mookie Betts found a hole to bring in their first run. Ohtani, he's up with runners on, but Eggy Rosario made a nice play to end that inning. We have some pot stirring that happened in the 5th inning. Gavin Stone, he was shredding, like absolutely shredding. He lost a cutter up and in. It almost hit Profar, and Profar didn't like it. The LA announcers were saying that Profar was trying to ice Gavin Stone because Gavin Stone was quite literally throwing a perfect game. Why would he want to hit jerks in Profar? Higashioka ended up breaking the no-hit streak, and then Jackson Merrill, the young rookie, he added to it. And then Nando ties it. He might end up with a 9 F4 season if he can repeat that platinum defense. Again, it's tied at 1. Gavin Lux said, no, it ain't. He jolted an RBI single. Mookie, he won't stop driving in runs. He's hitting 365 with 16 RBIs. Ohtani hasn't been as good. He's got 10 RBIs. He's hitting 343 now. Still very insane. That lineup does not make sense. The Padres did not have another comeback. back in their pocket. Evan Phillips, he wrapped up his 5th save. Gavin Stone, he had a perfect game through 5. He earns career win number 2. Now, after the game, Will Smith was asked about the interaction with Jerks and Profar, and he simply said, "Why are we trying to hit him? We're not doing that. Profar is irrelevant." Will Smith just doesn't care. He says what he feels. Oh, wait, I lied. Earlier I said the White Sox did play, just like they sucked again, and they basically didn't show up. That's kind of what I meant. Luke Maile somehow made contact against Garrett Crochet, so 2 score. 2 more are going to score off the bat of, guess who? The guy who rakes. Spencer Steer ripped a 2-run double. He's just casually hitting .370 with 18 RBIs. Nick Lodolo, is he back? Like, not just back from injury. This is his first start of the year, but is prime Lodolo back? He had a 3.6 ERA and an 11.4 strikeouts per 9 in 2022 before injuries and mechanical issues completely stole his 2023 season. Now, usually I hold web gems for the end, but this was huge for Nick Lodolo. Stuart Fairchild, he can fly. Gavin Sheets, he was not happy about getting robbed. Lodolo, he threw a slider from the depths of hell. I mean, that ball literally hit the hitter. Strike 3. Speaking of strike 3, Garrett, he helped out his team by staying in there. He punched out 10. He has 31 strikeouts through his first 4 starts. That's the most in White Sox history. This game was kind of fun because we had 2 giant lefty flamethrowers striking out everyone. Lodolo, he was racking them up as well, using that fastball and off-speed combination to perfection. Steer, he's not just a hitter. He can go get it. And yeah, that's it for this one. Lodolo, he struck out 10 in his return from injury, but like I said, the White Sox, they just didn't show up. We know that the Reds are in the NL Central, so they're going to have to keep up with the Brewers all year long. They need Baltimore to clutch up. Mountcastle, he belted one long and far. So did Jordan Westberg. Westberg has been a different guy ever since they called up Jackson Holiday. Competition brews. I don't know what the saying is. But now that he feels his job is threatened, he's been raking. Both home runs came off their former teammate DL Hall, who came on over in the Burns trade. Hoskins got one of those back. He defeated the wall in right field. Gunnar then stole that run back. He singles in 1, so it's 4-1. Jake Bowers, he squibbed one for an RBI ground out, and Hoskins kept it moving. That RBI single turned into 2 runs because Austin Hayes, he bobbled it in left field, so it's tied at 4-4. Did Alley do it? That ball is carrying, and it's gone. Baltimore, they're back up by 1, but oh my, this game will not let me catch my breath. Contreras, he's going to retie it all over again. Oliver Dunn, he scampers home, and oof, that's a rare home run from Jake Bauer. That is a 3-run moonshot, which makes it 6 consecutive games with 7 or more runs scored for the Brewers. Sal Frelick, he doubled in their 9th run, and Willie Adames, he's going to secure double-digit runs on a 2-run knock. Huge start for him. Remember, Willie is a free agent after this year. He's hitting close to 300 with 9 RBIs. The Brewers, they're in the 10-win club now. They're 10-3. Let's go find the Jays now, see if they can get things back on track, and look who it is. Yariel Rodriguez is making his MLB debut. He rose to prominence during the WBC for Team Cuba, and he looked great. He strikes out Tovar. Then he gets the red-hot Ryan McMahon. He was showing off that slider a ton, and that slider made some noise in the WBC. I forgot that Dakota Hudson was on the Rockies, but he walked in a run, and oh my goodness, Dalton Varsho crushed that pitch, and this dude was ice cold to start the year. Now he has 2 home runs and 5 RBIs on the season. All of that came in the last 2 games. Yariel, he left a slider up, and Brenton Doyle, he did not miss it to the second deck. He's got some stupid talent. Rodriguez, he ended up striking out 6, but they would not let him go 5. He's out, but an impressive debut nonetheless. A few innings later, the Rockies made a little comeback. Brendan Rodgers dropped one behind first base for a huge 2-run single. The Rockies made it 5-3. The Jays got to steal back some momentum, and that'll work. George Springer, he flies in to make a grab, and then Jimmy, I think I've been saying Yimmy Garcia for my entire baseball career. It's Jemmy Garcia. He strikes out the side. Ball game. He gets the save. Toronto is now 7-8, while the Astros, they're trying to avoid going 5-12. Yes, they're still taking on the Rangers. Ronell went 15 consecutive scoreless, but that was ruined quickly as Josh Smith, he can knock it out lately. And then Wyatt Langford, he went inside out. He drove in their second run. John Singleton, he botched 2 consecutive bases loaded opportunities. That's a lot of runners left out there. He grounded out and then struck out. Houston is searching for one little run to start a rally, and there's one, an RBI ground out from Dubon. That'll work. Tucker, he ties it. He is so dang good. Lefty means nothing to him. Ronel Blanco, he did not allow another run after those first 2 in the first, and Brian Abreu, he got into a ton of trouble after he relieved Blanco, but he got a slider to bite back in. He strikes out Evan Carter with the bases loaded. The game is still tied at 2-2 when Victor Caratini ripped a huge 2-run single with the bases loaded. Tuve, he also drove in 2. That was his 4th base hit of the game. We have more 2-run knocks. Kyle Tucker, he collected another double. Yainer Diaz, he makes it 8-2, and Pena, he's trying to prove that he's not a one-year wonder. He singles in another. The Astros, they finally break through, and speaking of breaking things, this is an awful segue, but remember when Kyle Tucker pimped a home run and then stared at the pitcher? That pitcher was Brock Burke. Burke went into the clubhouse, punched a wall. Now, I guess the silver lining is it wasn't his throwing hand, his pitching hand, so maybe he's not going to miss a huge amount of time, but yeah, he broke his own hand. We can't be doing that. From a high-scoring game to a low-scoring game, CJ Abrams, he turned on a pitch, and both of these guys can fly. That's an easy RBI 3-bagger. Jacob Young, his helmet flew off. CJ's helmet flew off as well because speed. Mackenzie Gore was out of his mind. I know it's the A's, but when you get your first 11 of 15 outs via the strikeout, that's insane. His fastball has some giddy up. The slider is stupid. Again, 11 punchies through 5. Winker, he got on in the 6th. Luis Garcia hit one hard, and the center fielder read it so wrong. That's a free RBI double. Now, the A's did score 1, so it's 2-1, but Washington, they got it back on a Jacob Young double to score Trey Lipscomb. Jacob Young has 4 base hits and 3 stolen bases over his last 3 games. Cal Finnegan, he had an easy 1-2-3 ninth inning. He has 5 saves. Washington, they have a very bright future if Mackenzie Gore can be this guy more often. The A's were trying to catch the Halos, and man, a W would have been big because the Angels got smoked in this one. Not even a spoiler. Like, you knew it was going to be a long day after Hicks just dropped that baseball. Yoshida, he dropped one in. That's an RBI, and yeah, that's not a blooper. That's one of those swings where you don't even feel contact. Like, perfect barrels are a thing of beauty. They just go very, very far. A 2-run blast for Tristan Casas. Zach Neto cannot make the play to throw out the speedy Rafaela, so it's a 4-run first inning. Wilyer Abreu, he's now 2 for 2 after an RBI in the 4th. He then steals second base, and Masataka, he's going to try and repeat the first. He dunks one the other way this time. Abreu, he scores. I know the Angels got crushed, but I do have to show Taylor Ward because he's still raking. This dude now has 5 home runs and 16 RBIs. Hello. His barrel rates are insane. He's also playing very good defense as well. Jarren Duran drove in the game's final run on a sac fly. The Boston bullpen, they struck out 6 over the final 5. The Red Sox, as a team, have a 2.44 ERA. That is the best in all of baseball. The Marlins, on the other hand, have one of the worst team ERAs in all of baseball, and they're taking on the Braves, which can't be good, especially when you're facing Chris Sale. But Josh Bell, he does see lefties well, and honestly, I feel like he's always going to see them well. Vidal Brujan, he smoked that thing, and it was hit hard enough to give Kelnick some issues. He drops it, and he has a pretty good arm, so I don't know if Miami's going to try and score if he does catch it. Chris Sale, he got into more trouble in the 5th. Arise, he beat out a single, and then the umpire hosed Chris Sale. That should have been an inning-ending strikeout, but instead, Brian De La Cruz, he got a chance, and he came up huge. That is a base-clearing extra base hit, 5-0 Marlins. Now, before we show the final out of this game, we absolutely have to see what Max Meyer did. And don't forget, this kid was the 3rd pick in 2020 before missing all of 2023 with Tommy John. He struck out 7 Braves over 6 very efficient frames, 7 strikeouts, no walks. He has a 2.1 ERA over his first 3 starts, which is pretty cool, especially for a depleted Marlins rotation. They take it 5-1. They get just their 3rd W of the year. Ketel Marte got it going early versus the Cardinals. He roped a double down the line. Lourdes got into 3rd on a single the other way, and Walker, he walked. So the bases are loaded for Jock, and he just got on top of that. He settles for a sac fly, 1-0 Snakes. Ryan Nelson, he was cruising, and at one point set down 10 consecutive Cardinals. Lourdes, I ain't gonna lie, he showed some terrible effort there. He jogged to that ball. He allowed Jordan Walker to get to 3rd on a ball hit to left field, which should never happen. Mason Wynn, he then ties it. You gotta blame Lourdes 1000% for that. Good thing Nelson got out of that inning without any more trouble, but now he's in some trouble in the 6th. Bases are loaded. Jordan Walker up again. What a dot. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball on the black. That is unhittable. Lourdes, he's up now. Runners on. Can we make up for his lack of hustle earlier? Okay, that does help a little bit. That's a 3-run home run. He has 18 RBIs and 4 home runs. Those 18 are tied for the most in baseball. Kevin Ginkel, he then got Goldie to fly out. Both teams, the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks, they're 7-8 through their first 15 games. Man, this Michael Busch kid is an actual stud. Now that he's getting daily reps, he looks basically like he can't get out. He got Dansby the 3rd and set up a sac fly opportunity for Nico Horner. It's 1-0, and now it's 1-1 after Luis Urias drove in one on an extra base hit. Seiya, he wants me to say it again. Seiya says, see ya. The Cubs are back out in front, and Shota, he was in a heap of trouble to start the 6th inning. 2 runners on, nobody out. But Christopher Morel, he laid out. He looked like CP3 with the bounce pass to first base. That saves a run. Imanaga's day is done, though. He's out after 5 1/3, just 1 run allowed. It was an unearned run, by the way. The pen is going to try and keep it there. Morel, another web gem. The Cubs might have their 3rd baseman of the future. Like, I didn't know if it was going to work out, and he has struggled a little bit over there, but it seems like with time, he's going to get better and better. Chicago does get out of that jam, and Michael Busch, he did not get jammed there. That's 3 consecutive games with a home run, 4 on the year, and then Miguel Amaya, he showed off his pop as well. More insurance runs for the Cubs as Adbert, he struck out J.P. Crawford to end it. We have to tip our cap to Shota Imanaga, who has not allowed a single earned run through his first 3 starts. That's 15 1/3, 0 earned runs, and 16 strikeouts. He's him. You guys just watched the longest recap of the year, 17 games. I'm not going to waste any more time. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the web gems.
Plate. Another change, and Wade gets to that. But Sale reaching for this. It's to the same spot down the left field line that Bell's ball went, but this time
Winker now up and swinging on the first pitch. It's a soft liner. Darrell tags the bag at third. He goes.
Drives this one the other way. Verdugo on the move. Nice play.
3-2. Up the middle. Sliding stop. Simeon. It's sort of first. In time.
Left center. On the slide.
Like an Aaron Judge. There's a nice line drive.
and a sliding play in right field.
He swings at the 3-0 and he hits it to deep right, and Bryant hangs.
Little bloop. Kim's going out and diving to make the catch.